Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 2021 Psychopath Stream Team Men's Mental Health Panel. My name is PsycheSiren Dylan. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate you, y'all. Dylan Killen is an amazing streamer. He is on our stream team. Absolutely fantastic, ridiculous attitude, and a major advocate for men's mental health. Go ahead and give him a follow. But yes, hello everyone. If this is your first time to my channel, this is a bit new. Well, we've done mental health podcasts before. Phoenix, thank you so much for subscribing. But yes, for those of you that do not know me that well, I am a therapist. I am a mental health professional. Besides being an absolutely ridiculous person on the internet when I stream games, this is my profession. And when I started this stream team, I wanted us to really focus on mental health, charities, good, genuine communities that lift each other up. So today on International Men's Day, and also in honor of Movember, which we are raising money for tomorrow at our charity event for the stream team, I decided to put this panel together. And I know you may be thinking, but Psyche, you're not a man. No, I'm not. But I will be facilitating the questions that our community has submitted, and just guiding the conversation as it unfolds. But yes, hello everyone. Phoenix, thank you so much for subscribing for 11 months. Once again, another amazing streamer, another wonderful advocate for mental health. Go ahead and check her out. But yes, on our mental health podcast nights, we leave room for the people to talk that are on our panel. You may ask questions in chat. You may receive a reply back or two in text. However, audio belongs to our lovely, lovely group. But let's go ahead and say hello to people while we can. Hello to Dark and Angel and Super Andiness. Hello, dear. How are you doing? Another amazing streamer. Dylan, thank you so much for that raid once again. Hello, Autumn. Hello, Osen. Oh my gosh, y'all. We've got a good group tonight. Hello, Sandwiches. Hi, Beam. Oh my gosh. I am so glad to see all of you here once again. Hello, Phoenix. But yes, let's go ahead and join our wonderful group.
The option. If you find the game ready option. Hi.
Hello.
It's tech support for Men's Health.
Did I intrude on something?
We were having a technical discussion. We're gonna actually just flip all this over to CPUs and GPUs. Didn't know if you wanted to do that today. No? Okay. All right.
I'm not concerned at all about tonight.
I mean,
we're gonna focus on men's mental health today, and next week it's just gonna be Psyche's mental health.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna be wine and bathtubs and candles.
Yes.
For starters, ma'am, you shouldn't be drinking just gin out of the bottle.
Don't listen. This is our mental health day. We don't have to talk about my previous streams, all right?
Well,
Wait, do we actually have to act like those don't happen right now? Is that what we're doing?
No.
Okay. Okay, I'm just saying.
Oh, my stars. But yes, if you lovely little gremlins would like to go ahead and introduce yourselves, please, for the love of God, do so.
I believe that you're first, Acorns.
am I first? Okay.
Yeah, you're A.
Are we going alphabetically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
Autumn and you were first, yeah.
You know, I used to have a great elevator pitch when people said introduce yourself, and that just went out the
Oh
window.
no.
Okay, my name is Acorns.
Hi, Acorns.
I'm
Acorns.
I make music, I guess, and sometimes I stream. I'm from Michigan. I can tell you where I live if I point on my hand, because that's what everyone does. Let's see.
Oh my
I'm
God.
engaged. I get married next year.
Congratulations.
And my favorite band is Rush. Okay, cool. That's the end of my intro. Someone else please talk.
You can also find Acorns when he streams over at twitch.tv.
Oh, yeah.
There
He's
you
amazing.
go. There you
Yeah.
go. Can we get a shout out, please, for Acorns?
Love you, dude.
Oh, my stars.
Can you tell that I absolutely hate talking about myself?
Well, you're going to hate the next 2 hours.
Well, okay, like I really need to like update my elevator pitch. I used to have a great one.
Yeah, I
And then
remember.
just-
It was all super radio.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah, I guess I stream every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
There you go.
There we
There
go.
you go.
Did I do good?
You did great.
You did
We're so
good.
proud of you. This is a safe space.
This is safe space.
My wife's threatening me with spray bottles already. I'm scared.
That's probably a sign it's your turn, Autumn.
Oh, yay. Hi, I'm Autumn. I am
Hi,
check the
Autumn.
script. Contractually obligated to mod for PsycheSiren.
Yep, you're stuck.
And that's me. I don't stream. I'm just around. You'll find me places, possibly under rocks.
Do you want to say what you do for a living? Do you want to?
I fix medical equipment.
There you go.
Oh, you do? I didn't know that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, he works in
Like
hospitals.
those respirators and things, like the people that use that clear out lung stuff and all that. Like those guys, you repair those or just other stuff?
ventilators, anesthesia machines.
Yeah, I knew a guy who did that.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Diz.
Hi, I'm Diz. You can find me over at the Dive at twitch.tv/DizCam, where we play games. I play them poorly. You guys yell at me. It's fine. It's what we do. Hope to see you there. I actually work in a senior living community.
Wow.
Old people live in an apartment building, not to the point that they need assisted living or anything like that, but I work in a very rich community building where they have services like cleaning and things like that, and I fix all of their stuff, and they're nice but very snooty.
Like nose up in the air, like
Some of them, yes. Like $5,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and in a town like Tigard, where I live, a little suburb of Portland. Yeah, there's nothing $5,000 over here for
I
for a
bet.
2-bedroom.
I bet.
Yeah. So all the services, it's crazy.
And I will say, you can also catch Acorns and Discam tomorrow at our charity event. They will be some of the streamers competing. Autumn will be there too. However, his job will be to run the behind the scenes and make sure the donations come through and what is redeemed happens.
Head button pusher.
I'll be shooting you into lava.
I know. I deserve it. Big Shem will be here later. He will join us when he can. He is a father of 2 very young, adorable, high energy girls.
Don't envy. I remember.
We're understanding of his time. And yes, hello, my name is PsycheSiren, a therapist who decided to stream and show people that therapy isn't all that scary, and I may have done the opposite, and I'm trying to atone for it. But anyway, so with that out of the way, I want to talk about why this is important, y'all. Tomorrow, we will be raising money for a charity named Movember. Movember started around 10 years, actually. I remember hearing about it when I was in college, just coming out of high school, where people would shave their mustaches and they would grow them throughout the month. And I was like, this is a bit bizarre. Why is everyone doing this? Well, that movement was to raise awareness about men's mental and physical health. And this is something that is very near and dear to my heart. As the older sister of 2 mischievous brothers, the daughter of a very hilarious father, the stepdaughter of a very courageous stepdad. A lot of men in my life have really impacted me in very positive ways. Family members, friends, my husband. And throughout my career, I have worked in homeless shelters and domestic violence shelters. I would run the phones when people would call the hotline. I cannot count the amount of times I unfortunately had to turn someone away. And when I looked up for resources for men, there were none in the area. There were none at all. So this is very near and dear to my heart and a lot of people in our community. And we want to raise awareness. We want you to know that you're not alone, that mental health is nothing to be ashamed of, and that this is an epidemic in America. Globally, on average, 1 man dies by suicide every minute of every day. That is 60 lives lost every hour. That if we raise awareness towards, maybe we can change that. So that is why we are here. That is why we are doing that. And we are so grateful you're all here. And we're grateful to the lovely people in this panel for agreeing to answer some pretty personal questions. I was shocked that y'all were so ready for it. I'm very proud of all of you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Are we ready?
Yeah, I actually want to answer that first one pretty badly. Go
Yeah?
ahead, though. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt.
All right.
Yeah.
No, this is good. We want enthusiasm, you know?
Do you want me to read the question? Because I have your list here.
Oh, yeah, you can read the first question. So everyone, welcome to our panel. It's just going to be a Q&A. Questions submitted by the community anonymously. But yeah, here's the first one.
I don't want to take it over, but this first one
go ahead.
it said something immediately when I read it yesterday when I first got to reading this. It says, how has the stigma of men's health impacted your life? And it has, obviously, for some of us, especially me, my whole life. The thing about when I grew up, I'm a little older than a good portion of our communities. When I grew up, there was like a men's men thing still, you know?
Yeah.
And and this stigma has hit me as recently as now, right now streaming this week.
Oh my gosh.
And the reason it was because when the Movember thing came up the first time, it was a thing. It's about men's health, and the problem is with it is that even me, I think about it. And I'm like, why what's you know?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go to the doctor. Or what the hell's wrong? You know? I mean, and I'm almost 50 years old.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking about you know. It's a very strange thing because now there's a charity that you know that I'm finding out about, you know, and I'm like, this is a thing, and I'm realizing as I was helping, of course I want to help. If Psyche picked it, I'm gonna want to help. So I'm getting into this thing, and I'm realizing why they're helping, and it's not just, you know, men's mental health, it's physical health, and all these things that dudes just don't do, and everybody's like, but then at the same time, so many dudes are having such a bad reputation these days, and it's hard for someone to want to look at a charity like Movember and go, why would I want to help when so many dudes are kind of shitty? So but it's true. No, hold on. I'm not ending on a terrible note here. The whole thing about it is that most dudes aren't, though. You know what I mean? Like, guys, really, your average guy, like your dad, your brother, you know, cousins, whatever, people you know, they're not terrible people. They're not terrible people. They're not the scuzzy dude at the gym. Okay? They're not the rich billionaire who's ruining all our lives or whatever.
But unfortunately,
most
in the
of
media, you see highlights of those.
That's all you're seeing is man, some dude Florida man does this, you know, man does this, man. It's always really bad for the guys who really aren't that at all.
Not
and to
at
have
all.
a charity like this that gives a shit and wants to push forward and help guys, everyday people, man.
Yeah.
You know, we go to work, we come home, we deal with the same crap everyone else does, and a lot of us, you know, aren't scuzzing up. You know, we're not like that. And it's good to see that this kind of thing is a force to be, you know, a force that's helping those good men and hopefully change that stigma, because part of that, you know, I'm a man's man stigma is part of the damn problem.
Yep.
You know, and that's what's holding Movember from really kind of exploding, is that if they have to push to change that stigma, and I'm all for it. And so that's how it's in fact impacted my life, pretty much my entire life.
I love that. And yeah, it is amazing to see how much the movement has grown. I agree. I guess we would ask the same question of our other panel members whenever you would like to respond.
Yeah. So I was gonna say something like that was a generational thing. But now that I really think about it, I still feel like I read stories about the stigma for men's mental health. I feel like it's slowly, I think. Okay, so this is like a catch-22. I think portion of it is a little bit generational. I think as generations go on, I think, you know, the families that raise these generations are getting a bit better about mental health stuff. Me personally, I was raised in pretty good home. Like I was taught to, you know, share your emotions and whatnot. And I was always very, very open about that. And my dad was someone who everyone said he was the gentle giant because he was my height. I might have been taller than him before he passed away, but he was very kind. Like I'm basically just a copy of him, like to a T. So, and I took that to heart, literally. And I wear my heart on my sleeve constantly. I don't really ever let anything back.
Mm-hmm.
If something's bugging me mentally, I'm just gonna let it out. I really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also like why I just, in general, just don't care about gender roles.
Mm-hmm.
And this might be something that's like maybe part of the fact that, you know, I'm queer. So, where I'm just like, gender roles are dumb. I'm gonna paint my nails. I don't give a crap. Wear makeup when I want to, that kind of thing.
So what you're saying is you were comfortable expressing emotional intelligence growing up. It wasn't taboo.
Perfect. Yes, exactly.
Okay. That is.
Yeah, I was going to keep going for a bit there, so thank you for bringing that in.
No. I just wanted to clarify.
You did well.
And I love that. I love that so much because like you said earlier, Diz, it's changed so much just over the last few years. Like it really is like a generational daddy hunkrat just hurdle to get over with every generation.
Yeah, these verklempt kids, you know, that their parents were holding down to rules that were put up for them, you know. It's like they're breaking away from it. And you know, I mean, you may get the complaints about whatever, Gen Z this, Gen Z, who cares, honestly, about the names and the labels. It's just these are your kids, and they're telling you life needs to be different, you know, and they're not telling you because they're whining, they're telling you because life needs to be different. And it's good to see that the men are a little bit more, you know, less willing to battle and more willing to open up. That's what I would like to see, because it just makes it a lot easier all the way around. All the stigma and all the crap that comes along with it. It'd be great if you didn't have to deal with guzzy dudes, but they're always going to be there.
Well, and
but there's more of the good ones out there than you think.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, Acorns, that things may be a bit different because being LGBTQIA. But I will say the two people I was most comfortable with coming out when I came out as bi were my husband and Acorns, because I knew your journey and I knew your emotional intelligence. So I felt comfortable to open up about that, you know?
Yeah, and that made me feel really proud that you were comfortable enough to share that story with me and, you know, ask me questions about, you know, coming out. So, yeah.
But
like I feel like I have a pretty, like, I can match everyone's emotional intelligence around me pretty well. So.
And it's so interesting because the stigma when it comes to men's mental health is, oh, it's more other types of intelligences, not emotional. When that's not the case. Men are very, very capable of high emotional intelligence. But if people listen to those stigmas, they might not reach out to you when it's the complete opposite. I will say, speaking of Florida man, Autumn, earlier, Des, thank you for subscribing. Diz said earlier, the Florida man stereotype, and I was just chuckling to myself because we have Autumn here, who is
Actual
a Florida man. Yes.
Okay, just
definitely not not that Florida man.
Do you want to know why Florida man's a thing? As a quick aside, do you want to know why Florida man's a thing? Why there's always bizarre stories?
Someone told me and I've forgotten. There is a reason.
Yeah, it's because the freedom of information laws in Florida make it easier for journalists to obtain information about arrest from the police than in other states.
Yep.
So Autumn, I would love to hear your opinion on
Yeah.
the stigma. Mm-hmm.
So, how it's affected my life is it delayed me seeking out the help I needed.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not like it's just the stigma. It's not anything on how I raised or anything, but it's sort of just that ingrained thing that I'll be fine. It's fine. I can push through it. I can make it. I can deal with it. And I did for years. Years longer than I should have. And it finally took some more recent significant things for me to finally go like, okay, you know what? Actually, I do need help. My wife likes to use the phrase, I'm a man and I'll fix it myself. And even when I can't, I'll fix it myself. That's sort of how the stigma goes, right? It's like,
Yeah.
I'll be fine. And even if I'm not fine, I'll be fine. And you're not. And I hit that point where I was like, I can't fix this anymore. And I need somebody to help.
Yeah. And that's a very interesting point you bring up. You can have the best raising in the world, but still, like, through other outlets, kind of get that impression that this is a societal norm and I shouldn't deviate from it, or else it makes me less of a person, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a very, very good point. It's not always how a kid is raised. There is a higher societal, cultural issue of it. So, next up, I want to focus on, like we were saying, the environment around you. What did someone in y'all's life get right about mental health? Like Acorns, you said about your dad and his emotional intelligence. It could be a friend, family member, etc. And also, what did someone get wrong? This could be humorous, it could be serious. Who comes to mind when you read this question?
You know, I can't think of anything for the wrong thing.
And that's
But-
wonderful. That's
Yeah.
That's wonderful though. That's not anything bad.
No, I'm just trying to think of something, but like
Yeah.
I want to touch upon the get right thing again, and specifically with my dad, because I saw my dad cry a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it. Yeah, I don't want to say it was often, but like I've seen him cry a lot. Like he had a very good emotional intelligence. Like I saw the first time I remember the first time. It was very impactful. It was when his grandfather passed away.
Yeah.
I was really young. Gosh, I can't even remember like how old I was. But I went in the garage and I saw him sitting in the there's like a little step that led from our garage up to the house, because the house was raised up a little bit from the garage floor. So I was sitting there, saw him sitting there, cigarette in his hand, and just kind of had his hand in his head, or his hand in his head, he's crying. And then the last time I remember that happening was probably like the year before he passed away. He was really struggling financially and trying to find work. And he was like, I just feel bad that I can't, because I was like probably about 18, 19. I just feel bad I can't get you anything for Christmas. Like, I don't, it's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
You know, you bring up something very interesting, because I can't remember the first time I saw my mom cry, but I can remember the first time I saw my dad cry, because like I said earlier, those societal norms that not even are forced upon us, just around us, it took me a bit aback. I remember I was 10 years old, and it's not that he never hid his emotions. I just remember being like, I don't ever think I've seen a dad cry. I didn't think any less of him. I didn't think anything like that at all. It was just, oh, my dad gets sad too, like me.
It just wasn't normal to see her as often. Yeah. I hear that. I don't think I ever saw my dad cry. I didn't see my dad cry. I didn't see my dad do anything but really show any kind of, like excitement over, unless it was, I don't know. I think I get a lot of my nerd from dad,
Oh.
I really do. I get a lot of it. Like, he was this heavy sci-fi, driven kind of a person, like a real escapist, I would put it, and it made it so that I always knew that he was running away from stuff rather than dealing with it, because you get that stuff pretty early. You figure out who your parents are, whether they like it or not. You figure out who they are, and it was one of those things where, like, you just kind of had to deal with it. This is who he is. He was alcoholic, and he hid in everything other than life.
Yeah.
And so we had to go through a lot of crap because of dad hiding from everything. And so, like, the getting it wrong was that he wouldn't fix anything about himself, even when people brought it to him. And one day I stood there, I was about, I don't know, 15, 14, something like that, and I said, you could just stop drinking, and then we wouldn't have to argue with your half drunk ass about stupid things, and I wouldn't have to take money out of your wallet to pay our bills, with things like that. I wouldn't have to handle things like the adult. And he got really pissed, got really mad, of course. And he's like, I don't want to. That's why. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And that kind of, but that's one of those things where he got it wrong, because he wouldn't ever stop. He wouldn't ever address it. He just wanted to be. That's who he wanted to be. I'll give him points for being who he wanted to be. It just was kind of a shitty father,
And
but go ahead. Sorry.
I was just saying that sometimes what I've noticed just working with clients, there are acceptable emotions to display and emotions that may be seen as unacceptable. So an emotion that's acceptable could be stubbornness or aggression or control, versus a perceived softer emotion, such as vulnerability or admittance to a fault. So your story lines up a lot with ones I've heard in the past. That reaction.
The one who got it right was a friend of mine who left, who attempted. He's still let's put it this way, he's still messed up. We all are. We're all screwy.
No one's perfect.
No one's perfect. But apparently he's getting his life together finally, years and years later, after drugs and all kinds of problems. But one of his first attempts to get away from everything and grow up was leaving California. And he left ahead of me. And he came back like a year later and said, dude, you should come up. And I said, oh, all right, I'll come up and visit, And honestly, I left California in 2001, and I've only been back to visit like my daughter at graduation.
Yeah.
And I saw my grandma once before she died, that kind of a thing. I haven't gone back because honestly, California was so toxic. At least where I was in California, and where I was in California was so toxic. When I first got to Oregon, it was a very different place. And when he moved up here, he did really start the path. And so I give him a lot of points for that, for getting out of the element if you can.
I love that. I love that he was a good example who paved the way, even if he wasn't perfect. I really love that.
Well, we kind of turned this question into talking about our fathers, so I'll go next, because when I thought about this question, the person who comes to mind to answer both is actually my father. Because he did something, as far as I know, he did one thing right and he did one thing wrong. What he did right is he did get help for his mental issues. He struggles with depression. He had for years. I think he's finally in a place where he's not on medication anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's how he managed it, was medication. As for what he did wrong, my memory is coming from me as a child, but to my memory, he went basically straight onto medication. He never tried therapy or anything else. And I'm not saying medication is bad. It's not something, I think it helps a lot of people. It's something I'm considering. But I wish he had tried therapy, maybe.
Yeah, talk therapy.
Yeah, because that's what I'm doing, and it's helping me.
Yeah.
Like maybe he went for a Band-Aid or something first?
Yeah,
and then just stuck with the Band-Aid?
It feels like he went for the quick and easy fix, and maybe that was the right thing, but I don't know. He does counseling himself, and I wonder if, as someone who does counseling, he didn't want to go and see someone basically who does like the same kind of thing.
Don't you call me out.
Oh, I don't know.
Doctors are the worst patients.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know that for sure, but
Oh my gosh. But
But yeah,
yeah.
that's what I've seen. So
It
Sorry,
is
go on.
very interesting how we have two examples of people who both did right and wrong. But people are multifaceted. You can get some things right and get other things wrong, and you're not a monster for it. You're human.
mm-hmm.
So next up, we have an interesting question. And Diz, you actually kind of, at the beginning, you kind of really got into it. The what are some stereotypes about men that you feel are damaging to a man's mental health journey? Also, Drewsies, thank you so much for that raid. We appreciate you.
you know that this is that thing. This is it. This is the thing that all of us deal with. All of us deal with this. You know, I hate the sword fighting. Let's put it that way. You know what I mean? I'm trying not to be a gremlin here, but that's what it is, you know?
Yeah.
And it's brought on by so much of this masculinity bullcrap. And I'm not sure where it really comes from. I know that there were societal things for it, and you know, let's say the 50s and the 60s, a man's a man smoking in the office, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And you had to be tough and whatever. And it's just like it's so old. I'm so tired of it, you know? I'm starting to get to the point where, and I don't really care if you're emotional, your feelings and your reactions are appropriate. You know what I mean? Like they are to match whatever's going on, then you should just be able to do that, because holy crap, am I tired of digging through people's crap to get to the point of everything. You know what I mean? Bouncing around things when you could just say, this sucks and this is why.
So it sounds like you're really upset about men not feeling comfortable being vulnerable, like opening up.
Just
like you have to dig
just be a
through.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big one.
I can see that. I can see that. It's so difficult viewing someone as, you know, having emotional intelligence when they're having to appear stoic.
It turns into a power play that's really damaging to everyone. You know, when like a work environment, it's the worst place for it. I know there's probably worse, especially if you're female. There's probably a worse example, and I apologize. I'm not trying to minimize that. But as a dude going into work who's just trying to get his job done and having to deal with somebody who just needs to be the boss,
Yeah.
is a stereotype, you know, that a lot of people fall into. Yes, but dudes take it to a different level, and it's really just stop, dude. Just knock it off.
Yeah.
You know, just tell me what we need to get done, and let's go. You know, let's go do that and be done with this whole like, you know, boss dude thing. You know, where I'm the boss. You got to listen to me. I'll tell you when to do it. Just be done. Be done with it. Let's just handle this together. And it seems to work out better for everything. And I endeavor for it for some years now to just not shove, because I can be pushy. I don't mean to be, but you know, you get this idea in your head and you're an extrovert. You just kind of go run in there and jump in and
well,
you know, shuffle everything around. But
there's a difference between being assertive and being a bulldozer, I think is
yeah,
what you're
and appropriate.
Saying. Yeah.
An appropriate amount is what I'm saying. And you grow up. You know what I mean? Be appropriate to what the things going on around you. Pay attention. Wake up. You know, if we could just do that part, I think a lot of things would change. And the thing about it is too, is I keep turning this to a positive, is I think slowly our kids are figuring it out.
Yeah.
You know, and all these old guys who are holding on to it for dear life are, well, you know, you're only got so many years, buddy. So you really aren't going to keep pushing it around forever.
So you're saying societal change is coming.
We have no choice. The
Yes.
kids are going to do what they want. Yeah, we're still going to grow up with, you know, you know, selfishness and whatever. Humans are going to be humans in their own way. Eventually there's going to be goods and bads and everything. But I think overall, we're all sick of the same crap.
Yeah.
You know, and it seems to be changing. So yeah, those stereotypes, those manly stereotypes,
Yeah.
you know, dude, I'm a guy. I like peeing my name in the snow. That's fine. But that doesn't mean I'm your boss. I'm not better than you. You know, knock it off. Grow up.
I love that at this point we have been joined by our latest panel member, Big Shem.
Hey, Shem.
Hi, buddy.
Hello.
Hello, Shem. Would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm right there with you. I like peeing in the snow too. So
Is that your introduction? You enjoy peeing in the snow?
Big
Hi,
Shem.
I'm Shem, and I enjoy peeing in the snow.
Amazing.
Y'all
That
can.
doesn't technical difficulties.
Oh, okay. Y'all can catch Shem over at twitch.tv/Big Shem. We're very happy he's here. While he's figuring out his technical difficulties, would someone else like to answer this?
I kind of have an interesting point that I
Okay.
wanted to bring up. Specifically of something Diz said, and I can't remember what made me tune into this, but I often wonder if sometimes like it's the stereotypes that you always think about, like what are like just amongst us all real quick, like what do you think are the most stereotypical like tough man jobs that you can think of, like the top 4? Name some off.
Name some off. Oh, it's
Yeah,
easy.
Construction
Construction.
worker. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Construction.
Said construction worker at the same time.
Yep.
Okay.
I spent my life building crap, dude. Let me tell you.
Okay, so top 4. What's the second perceived societal manly job?
What do you got, Autumn?
Soldier.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
military.
Okay.
And you know, we actually had a comment earlier in chat. One of our viewers, Decimate, said something very interesting. He said, "I've seen many instances of self-destruction due to the stigma of men's mental health, especially in the military environment."
oh, totally.
That makes sense.
So, wait, say that again. I'm sorry. was the
Soldier.
comment?
So construction worker and soldier.
So what was your comment though? Is what I was asking,
Oh,
Me.
or the comment from someone.
that was
Decimate.
Decimate. And he said that he had seen instances of just a destructive mental health environment in the military due to the stigma of mental health.
Yeah, but the reason I'm asking that is I just found a report from the CDC of and this is the heavy part, suicide rates by industry and occupation, and specifically it was highest in 5 major industry groups: mining, construction, automotive repair, and agriculture. Those are specifically
Automotive is kind of surprising.
What's that?
No, I would say that I would agree with you, Shim. But as a guy who had to fix the same starter 26 times on an old Chevy truck, no, I could see it, man.
Yeah, no.
I'm not even kidding.
When you hit double digits, that seems like a decision that you made and that you were in charge of.
It seems that's actually a very interesting point, Acorns, that the professions who may feel uncomfortable reaching out due to perceptions of what is a man also coincides with high suicide rates. That's actually very interesting data that I'm gonna have to look into.
Can I post the link in the chat?
Yes,
Is that okay?
most definitely.
Okay. This is from the CDC.
Okay.
So,
Shem, now that your technical issues are all good, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Oh, so yeah, real quick. Hi, I'm Big Shem. I've been associated with these guys for, it feels like forever now. The Twitch side of me, I'm a variety streamer. As one of my mods says, I adhere to torture equals ratings, and that's basically me in a nutshell.
Oh, it's accurate. I love it.
It is way too accurate.
But you are also the father of 2 adorable daughters. You are a mental health advocate yourself.
Oh yeah, that stuff too.
Yeah, that's stuff too.
Yes. I have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. My wife and I have been together 4 years now. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely a mental health advocate. Psyche and I had our own podcast for a little while before life happened and all of that. So I'm glad, at least in a sense, we're picking it back up.
Yeah. Now, before we move on to the next question, are there any more comments about stereotypes?
Well, one more I was going to add to that list of like the manly stereotypes stuff is athlete, most notably an American football player.
Oh, yep.
I could see that. Oh, yeah.
and you know what's really interesting? I recently saw a player. Because of my fantasy team. I had a player on my fantasy team that had listed as a non-football injury, and I was like, okay, what is this? What did they get? Like, they bust a hand playing video games or something? And I looked into it. I clicked. It's like, no, they took a mental health day. They checked their mental health in check.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did hear about that. That was awesome to see. So a couple of players have done that, which is really cool. I thought you were going to talk about the other news that's been making waves in football.
What story?
So this is the negative side of the being a man and the alpha male stereotype with football players. That one, yeah. There's a guy. There is very disturbing video. If anyone wants to look it up, that one, yes. There's very disturbing video of a former football player abusing his now ex in the household. Like there were, it must have been like nanny cams or something like that, but you can see it clear as day. It is not good. And even to add even more salt in the wound, their 5-month-old kid that they had together was in the same room as it's happening.
It is, oh god, that's just,
it is, your blood will boil watching it.
And that is heartbreaking. That's a very good point. Someone who is in a profession that young men might look up to and want to follow would then see that, and it would be very, very damaging, I could imagine.
Absolutely. Well, and you think in the environment too. So just, I mean, it's kind of putting football on the spot and stuff, but the entire time you're going through a sport like that, most of the time, I'm not saying everyone, but most of the time, the coaches and stuff are telling you, be a man, you got to suck up, play through the pain. You have to be angry. You have to, nothing but testosterone and adrenaline and stuff like that. And then, once some of these players retire and stuff, like a lot of domestic violence issues have been linked to current and former football players because that's all they've known for the longest time.
Aggression is an acceptable emotion.
Yeah. I also wondered too, So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's all good.
I feel like sometimes a lot of those too can be, especially in football, might be linked back to CTE, chronic traumatic. What's that word? What is that? And
Are you talking
Convulsions, basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because those guys take hits. Like there's been so many instances where like CTE is linked to very violent acts from NFL players. So
now to kind of rein us a bit back on track, because I feel like that could be a whole other podcast on itself.
Oh yes.
Do we have any more comments about any stereotypes before we move on to the next question?
I think we've hit most all of them.
I think so too.
Yeah.
All right, then let's go ahead and move on. So, this one, I really like this question. What advice would you give men who are uncertain about therapy?
just do it.
Go.
The total dude answer. Yeah, just go. Find one.
Do it. Where's the?
But the big one is like find one that understands and listens and makes sense to you, because that's a big thing. Like you're talking about emotional intelligence, and I've heard you, Psyche, talk about therapists, a good therapist having, being capable in that way with emotional intelligence. Sorry, I don't know the terminology, but
it's all good.
It's one of those things where like I found a couple of therapists like that in my life before, and I couldn't always keep going because of monetary issues or whatever was going on. But I found one of the best ones was somebody who was clearly very emotionally understanding. Told me that one day, I was just asking you all the questions and doing all the things. You're going through it and you're explaining your life and you end up talking about things as a kid and parents and all that stuff. And she goes, none of that was your fault, right? Like those things that happened to you as a kid, that's not, you're holding fault for all of that stuff, and you don't need to hold that. And it's a stupid thing to think about, but it gets in your head, after it's, that's, just think about it. Next time you're holding on to some crap like that, think about it. Remember, that's not your fault. You can let that go. You're holding blame for something that they did to you, or, you know what I mean? They were in charge. You weren't. You're a child. And that was one of the biggest things that allowed me to start flipping the switch on all of the things that I had dealt with when I was younger. Early decisions that I blamed myself for when clearly people should have been in charge of me.
Yeah.
So find a good one.
We call that an aha moment with our clients. You can see the light bulb, go off.
It's a great moment when it happens, though, because when you do realize that it's you're not the sole reason for everything that's happening to you. It is so liberating, because then, once and it takes a while for some people to have that hit. And for others, it doesn't hit at all, because, you can tell them over and over again. You can find 20 different ways of describing it. For some people, they're just not, it's not going to stick. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. But for those that when it does stick, it's so liberating, because then when stuff happens, when life starts happening to you or at you, you can instantly start thinking like, I'm not the cause of this. I'm not the reason of this. Sometimes life just happens, and that's okay.
Exactly. I like that a lot. Any other words of advice besides, for the love of God, just do it?
I would say the only other thing I would add to that is, there's always going to be the stigma. Oh, hopefully not always, but there's going to be that stigma of, oh, I'm a guy, I should just suck it up. I don't need therapy or anything like that. Everyone does. At some point in time, everyone does. You're fooling yourself if you think you don't. And a therapist, a good therapist, knows how to bring out the right questions and bring out the right responses that they're looking for, so that they can better help you. So even if that means the first therapist you went to doesn't work out, that doesn't mean you're incapable of getting help.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. It's
I was gonna say early on in my my mental health recovery, what would you call it? Like, I don't know. Journey. Let's call it journey. Yeah. My doctor was like, maybe you should try therapy. I was like, okay, cool. I would like to do that. My first thing that I did was DM Psyche, and this was like very early on in our friendship. Very early on in our friendship. I was like, hey, my doctor said I needed therapy. Could I go to you?
And I had to tell you, well, I would gladly. It would be unethical because one, we were friends, and two, I didn't have my license for online telecommunication therapy. But that was a very funny interaction.
It was. And I mean, in all honesty, it's probably a good thing that I did not go that route if it was a possibility.
Hey, wait. Hey.
No, I mean that in all the best ways.
Yes, no, I understand completely. It's a very different experience when you get someone who has no reason to lie to you, who isn't there to handhold, who is a professional that does not know you, versus someone who does. It's a very different and justifying experience.
Yeah. But just to kind of jump off something Shem said about picking the right therapist, I got lucky and I found, like, I'm also just very laid back and pretty flexible. The one that I got, I legit started during, like, it was April 2020 during the pandemic, because I think I was at my lowest during the pandemic. And I would tell Psyche, like, here's what he's doing, and she'd be like, oh, that's cool, that's great, he does this, X, Y, and Z really well. Like,
I was reviewing.
He was really good, because he turned me on to CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and it helped me out so much because a lot of my mental health problems were deeply rooted in health anxiety. Because, well, it all stems from my father never went to the doctor. Barely ever. And so just one day he's like, going to the doctor, I don't feel great. And then the next day, poof, dead.
Yeah.
So that was like, it just flared up in my head. And so just any little thing just triggers my health anxiety. So I went to him and he showed me, decision trees, where it's just basically, you didn't notice, decision tree basically just says, like, okay, what are you worrying about? Cool. Can you affect it or not? Yes or no. If you can't affect it, don't worry about it. If you can fix it, make some effort. And so we went over this, and like, as I talked to him, as we went through the pandemic, he's like, okay, cool, work on this next week, we'll come back and we'll talk. And then we went week by week, and then all of a sudden, like, one week it was like, I just like said, I was like, I got nothing. I'm good this week. And he's like, okay, cool. Let's meet in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks passed. But again, I was like, how's your day, man? What do you watch Marvel movies? Cool. Just going through school. Cool. Listen, doc, I've got nothing this week. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to a month.
You know what? That's how I got off of pills. Like, I took pills when I was married to my last wife. It was we had a rough relationship. It wasn't the best. And I went through a couple therapists, like I said. One of them was like, I'm not really, I don't just prescribe things, but maybe you should look into it, being that you're having such high anxiety and, some of depression and things like that. Maybe you should jump in there and try to help band-aid it so that the therapy can work. And I was like, okay. So I went through a few of them. Some of them are really bad. But the point was, but that's what got me off of the pills. Is the same thing. It's just one day I was just like, you know what? I don't need this anymore. And everybody says, oh yeah, you can just diagnose yourself. No, I was like, I was doing good. I understood my situation. I was clear with it. I knew what I needed to do to solve the things in my situation. It wasn't causing me depression anymore because there was an anxiety over dealing with it. It just needed to be done. I just needed to put the stuff down and let myself do it. And that's a couple weeks later, we were divorced.
Yeah.
Good on you, man.
That's the way it worked.
Yeah. Autumn, I think you started to say something earlier.
Yeah. So for this question, I mean, we've all given the easy answer. which is just do it. Delving into that a little more, don't deceive yourself into saying it's not bad enough that I need to go to therapy. Because you can do that to yourself. I did that to myself. And you will layer things until you get to a breaking point.
Yeah.
It's go, deal with it, get released, and then if more things come up, go back. And I think that's the other thing about therapy. If you get released from therapy, that doesn't mean you can't go back.
Exactly.
Because if life's a journey, and sometimes you're going to need to talk to somebody about things, and then you'll get to a good point and you'll be fine for a while, and then life will happen, and then you'll have more things you'll need to talk to somebody about. Maybe it's the same person, maybe it's someone else. And finding someone who you can talk to, who can give you sound advice, who can help you unpack things, that's important. And if you don't find that, find someone else. And don't let anything hold you back from that. Finances, anything. There's Movember. There's a lot of good organizations who will help you get the help you need. So if you need help, get it, and don't wait. Don't try and talk yourself out of it.
I like that a lot. And you raise a very good point. There's this misconception that there is a bar to get into therapy, that something very bad has to be going on, that you have to be in a very poor state, you have to tough it out until it gets to the breaking point. When in reality, I've had clients who were just there for their own mental health journeys. They didn't necessarily have anxiety or depression. They were just navigating life events, be it good or bad. And that is a very, very good point you bring up, Autumn. Thank you for that. And with that, I think we're good to move on.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Now I want to know, what do you do? Be honest. So, I don't want to hear I do yoga in the morning. What do you do to improve your own mental health? What steps do you take throughout your day for self-care? And if you don't, talk about that too.
Who wants to go first on this one?
I think you, because you said who wants to go first.
I just wake up and piss excellence no matter what.
Oh, Atlanta.
I can't be so awesome today. I'm tired from being awesome yesterday.
Oh my god. Don't you deflect with humor. I need answers. Don't deflect.
Okay. Actually, you know what? This was one of those things that for many years I used to play music, and
ooh, music's
it was a huge part of my life. It was everything in my life for years, for most of my life, from I don't know, about 10 years old up until about 10 years ago, a little less than 10 years ago. I played music even professionally, and it just got to the point where one day I just didn't want to do it anymore. You know, it's not because I didn't love music or anything like that. I just didn't like the job of playing music anymore. It made it not fun. And I used to love it. The job was the thing. Playing music for people was the performance, the live shows, the things. My body hurt. I had too much going on. I couldn't pay attention to the relationships in my life. And one of those things that I needed to change was I needed to put music down to change the realities of my life. And so I ended up doing that, you know, and it ended up being, it was okay. You know, it hurt a bit. It was weird. And I felt lost for a few years, you know, because all those people that were just around me because of so much music over the years slowly trickled away. You know what I mean? And you get back to who you really are as a person without this big thing you did your whole life. And it was really weird, but to replace music, I had to do something. I didn't know what to do, you know. Gaming helped, obviously, because it gets you out of your head. Reading helped, but the big one I really got clear because 2020, like you acorns, 2020 was really bad for me. It was gonna be really, really bad for me, and I knew it because I truly am by myself nowadays. I just have my kids come every other weekend. I don't, as much as possible, talk to their mother.
Hey, that could be improving your mental health too. I mean,
it really is. It really does. Just keeping as far away as possible. It really does because she's so bad. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
But the big one was that I started streaming, and I this whole thing has really been a. I don't want to go on too long, but the first, those first streams when there's no one there is really hard, but then people start trickling in and you make friends and all that stuff. And I still don't have a huge community. I'm not big at all in any freaking way. I'm smaller than all of you, believe it or not, but at the same time, all these people that I got to meet because of this, I have so many friends because of this. And I mean, you people are my friends. I love you guys. You guys are amazing people. I don't think I would have met anybody like you guys just walking around the real world, because there'd been no way to reach somebody with the same kind of interests, you know what I mean, without this huge internet thing that we deal with every day. So my big one is to wake up and check Discord. It's not a matter of like, Facebook or other social media where you're looking for likes, or you're trying to push whatever you got going on or whatever, or your perception of life. Discord is my people. You are all here, so when I wake up and see your messages, it makes me super happy.
So
it's my good endorphins.
It sounds like it was finding support. It was finding your tribe, finding routine and connection via streaming. I really like that.
Going back to work was really hard because it took so much out of streaming and out of you guys. Like I could pay attention to Discords all day and all that stuff. It's a side thing, but like, that part was hard to go back to work after that, because 2020 ended up being a looking up for me rather than a looking down because of streaming. Well, I know other people had it really hard with streaming, or whatever realities took them out of streaming and would probably have helped them. It was the one thing that moved me forward, because I gave me a purpose to wake up to. It was kind of nice. It was really good. So
also,
that's it. It still is.
I have to say something mentioned in chat that I really resonate with. Phoenix Risen says, Diz over here making me cry.
I'm sorry.
I'm getting misty-eyed too, Phoenix, I swear. But it's healthy, and let it out, girl. So next, what do y'all do to improve your mental health?
Actually, I wanted to ask a question of you, Diz, if it's okay.
Yeah, that's fine, man.
Do you miss doing music?
Well, that made me a little emotional
personal. You don't know the answer. What's that?
No, it's fine. I didn't for a lot of years. But recently it's come up. Yeah, I miss playing. I miss the shows. I miss the people, and I miss. We were always the band that, when you go to a show and you're at a bar and you just feel like you saw the band that was going to be good tonight. You left after that. You went on to the next thing. My bands were always that band. I'm not trying to be full of myself. I made sure I was with talented musicians, and my whole life it's what I strive for, was something new and something awesome. And so we always impressed the crowd, no matter how big or small the crowd was there. And after that, the bar's always empty, and I always felt bad for the bands after us. So we tried to play last a lot. Like, it was one of those things. I know it sounds cocky. I'm not trying to be, but seriously, it was one of those things that I miss that aspect. I miss everybody way over at the bar turning their heads and going, what the fuck is going on over there? And having to come up, grab their beer and come up. Do you hear these guys? That's what I loved. I loved bringing this this monster you create, and just throwing it at people and seeing what bounces off of them. It was a thing that what my life was based around, So it took me, I got to the point where I didn't miss it anymore. I was fine. It hurt. It's over. I'm doing other things. Especially with streaming, it was really good. But the last couple of weeks, it's been really bad. The itch is bad. Yeah, it's just real bad, dude.
Yeah. I feel like you and I are very simpatico on that, because like I grew up, playing in bands in high school, and I would play in bands like after high school and college too.
It's an itch. Yeah,
it's an itch. Yeah, because what did you play?
Everything. I've played everything. I played bass for bands for like heavily. Yeah. I would call them heavy-handed on the bass side of things, but like I play everything. I play just about anything.
It was just the bass for me, but it was like I never reached that level that you got to, but like I was always what's that?
Sorry,
no,
Autumn.
No, Autumn, say what you typed in chat out loud, Autumn. Don't
which one? The fact that y'all are getting the band back together, or that the name of it needs to be PP Rock?
For those of you listening, our stream team is called the Psychopaths, which a year later I realized the initials were PP, and it's too late to change.
Well, here's the thing, though. It was originally written out as one word.
It still is, isn't it?
It still is. But someone just happened to notice that Psyche pass PP and just
Next up, we're getting onto a tangent. I gotta rein us.
Okay.
Sorry.
Tell me, no, it's fine. I'm loving this. What do you do to improve your mental health?
I want to ask for a clarification on this, which is this the thing we do that improves our mental health, or is this the thing we do to cope with the bad mental health?
Yeah, do you mean coping?
Oh no, I was hoping for improvement, but we can go over coping.
Improving is therapy and cutting toxic people out of your life.
Oh yeah.
Oh, did that? Oh hell yeah, right there,
Setting
buddy.
boundaries, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of them boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
My ex-wife hates it. She's I don't want to get into her, but let's just put it this way: she doesn't understand them because of events in her life. She's just not good at boundaries. So when I started putting boundaries between us and just dealt with the kids, it was really hard because she couldn't affect my life anymore, and it really turned into a war.
You take that power away from them.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, I'm good. I've cut off everybody bad. I just lop them off, homie.
Yep. That's the way to do it. Just clean cut. No explanation needed. Just they're gone.
Oh my god. So, Shem, what do you do to improve your mental health? Oh my god.
Well, I don't talk to Diz's wife either, so that already makes
Trust me, that's a good one, buddy. That's a big one for you already.
For me to improve my mental health, I have some podcasts that I listen to, where some of them are kind of like the rah inspirational motivational people or something like that, but for me it kind of serves as a way to get my mind back on track, because I have this thing I've noticed. I haven't talked to anyone or gotten it diagnosed or anything like that, but I have a thing where about every 4 to 6 months ish, my mental health and my mind just jump off a cliff for no reason. Nothing that I've noticed triggers it or anything like that. Just for whatever reason, I go into a deep funk for about a week, and it'll take me a little while to pull myself out of it. And then like the most random thing pulls me out of it, and I just snap back to, quote unquote normal. But sometimes what I've noticed, what helps me get, jump back faster when I notice those things happening, is just reminding myself and just kind of resetting my mental health that things are okay. I can have these bad times. I can have these, these bad thoughts, these negative thoughts, things like that. Like, I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough, blah, blah, blah. All of that fun stuff. Just some of those reminders that I am worth it and I am good enough. The things that, I regularly take for granted with, my family, my house, my job, my hobbies and all of that stuff. Like all of that is going very well. Like I have very little to complain about in the big scheme of things, but every once in a while those negative thoughts come back, and so that's when I started going through and listening to some of those conversations and stuff as just kind of a reminder of take a step back, take a look at the big picture, and really analyze your situation. Like, first off, what's causing these negative thoughts, and what can you focus on to bring yourself out of it? And so for me, it's just reminding myself how lucky and fortunate I am to be where I am in life and in all of those things. And that typically pulls me back. I mean, and then there's obviously like video games and playing. I mean, for me, it's playing hockey and stuff like that, where it's something where I'm in control of something.
Yeah.
And it
especially,
sounds... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, especially playing hockey, for me, that's very therapeutic for me, because in the game that I'm playing, nothing else matters. I can turn everything else off, and the only thing I'm focused on is playing the game. And then video games, I use that as a coping mechanism, primarily because when I start getting depressed and having those bad thoughts and stuff, it's primarily because I feel like I'm not in control. And so I turn to games to where I feel like I'm in control. Like, I know exactly what I need to do, whether that's a quest or an objective, whatever. Like, I am in control. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know where I'm supposed to be going, and I know I can reach it.
I hear you. Minecraft, dude.
That it sounds like you practice mindfulness and being in the present.
Absolutely. Yes.
And that is an actual technique, and I love that you do that. And yeah, Minecraft is actually a very good example of a game. I think we did a presentation on video games and mental health, and we brought up Minecraft being actually very good, very relaxing. Of course, everything in excess is bad, but that was one of the games that was mentioned. Now, last but not least, Acorns, what do you do to improve your mental health?
Well, real quick, I just want to say, Shem, that was something I learned about you, like the way you kind of deal with that. Or I kind of knew, I kind of assumed, I guess, but I guess the way that you kind of mentioned, like every couple of months you go through that, because I not that you need to mention it to me ever, but I don't think you've ever really mentioned it to me ever.
It's not something I've talked about much, and to be honest, I never really knew why I didn't. I mean, obviously my wife knows, and so when she starts noticing that, she's like, "Oh, like are you having a funk period right now?" And I'll just be like, "Yeah, I kind of am." She's like, "Okay," and she knows not to, just to kind of give me my space and stuff like that. She knows I'll pull myself out of it. Right. And and sometimes like she tries to help too, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, no, I was like, because like you've always, to me, presented yourself as just like a very positive person. Like just you're just always just really pretty, like you're pretty level-headed, like pretty much all the time. And so it's like to see that hear you mention that other side of you, it's just like, oh wow.
Oh yeah, it's the side that rarely anyone gets to see, and I try and make sure. I mean, and this is just part of how I deal with it too. Is I try and make sure that no one else sees that, because that's a side of me that obviously I don't want to interact with people much when I'm going through that, because that's for obvious reasons. Like for anyone that has had like gone through depression or PTSD or any other kind of mental issues and stuff, you try not to show it so much because we all know why. But I mean, for me, for the longest time, I've always tried to operate in the mindset of the golden rule. Just treat others the way you want to be treated in return. And then on top of that, also trying to keep in mind, and I don't always do this, but trying to keep in mind that no matter who you see, no matter who you run into, and what kind of experience you have with them, whether it's good or bad, you don't know what they're going through.
Yes, that's a very good point. But yes,
that was the only thing I wanted to say. I was just like, wow, I learned a little bit more about our friendship and the way we interact. So I thought it was really cool. So thank you, Shem.
Yeah,
for sharing that. For me, this is gonna sound kind of unhealthy, but just completely just disconnecting. I just like if I get overloaded with just any one thing, I just want to shut off and just go elsewhere, because I mean I'm very extroverted, and if I just get overwhelmed with whatever emotion it is, whatever stresses me out, whatever's impacting my mental health, I just want to just cut out. I'm just like I would just take off.
Sometimes you need a minute.
Yeah.
Recharge. Maybe you're not as extroverted as you think you are.
Yeah, honestly, I do think that sometimes, dude. Like I think of myself as an extroverted introvert, because sometimes I'm just I just don't want to be on Twitch. I don't want to or sometimes what I do is I pick and choose my I don't want to say comfort people, but the people where I'm like, I can just say whatever, or I feel comfortable talking to them no matter what the situation is. I
think comfort people is accurate.
It's more expending your energy and who you're comfortable with that won't make you feel drained.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, because
and you know that no matter what, they're going to understand you.
Some people fill you back up, like streaming with Mitchie and Nikki on Sundays.
Yes.
Really fills me back up. It really does.
Oh, God.
I love both of them. They're flipping amazing. So I feel
all right, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Strike it from the VOD. Strike it.
But yeah, just dive, because I have really bad ADHD, supremely bad. So sometimes I'll just whatever is the most pressing thing in front of me at the time, I need to do something else to just get me going on the thing that I'm doing. Just to just to get the battery, just to jumpstart it. So and so it's just disconnecting and finding another activity that just a comfort activity. So
and there's nothing wrong with adequately assigning how much energy to give something. Not at all.
Yeah.
So our next question, so we've actually already kind of covered this. Have you gone to therapy before, and was the experience negative or positive?
Had both.
Both.
Oh yeah, I've had both. Yeah, went to marriage counseling once with my ex-wife, and you meet the good ones, and you meet the ones that are just gonna pick a side.
Yeah, which
and
is
the problem is
unethical.
that they do. We had one that picked my side, and I'm like, that's not how this is gonna go. That's not gonna work out for you. You can't just say I'm right and she's wrong. She's got some valid complaints about me. I'm a human. Even I know that, and I was part of the problem. So it's been good and bad, but we've had ones that picked her side, and that was a nightmare. But no, we found a good one, and it was good until it was good for me. I learned a lot. I learned where I really needed to be, but
and that's where that boundary setting comes into play. And therapists can teach you techniques. They can teach you homework. While they may not be able to save a marriage, they can at least provide techniques for further relationships. I know Acorns and Autumn, you've talked about your therapy experiences. Shem, do you want to answer this one?
Yeah. I've gone to counseling before. On a few different occasions. So my ex and I did couples counseling when our relationship hit a rough patch. My wife and I did premarital counseling just before we got married, which helped out a ton. I would recommend it for anyone.
Oh yeah, we did too. It's amazing.
Absolutely anyone. I would highly recommend it just from pure experience, because as much as you feel you know and you understand your significant other, there's always going to be small outlying things that that you need to get worked out. And that, you know, obviously everyone says communication is key in a marriage. That's obviously true. There's a reason why it's such a stereotypical answer. But it's also so important. And going through couples counseling, my wife and I learned a little bit more about each other, how to communicate more effectively, also how to, I don't want to say fight effectively, but more like argue and have kind of those awkward conversations more effectively, because at the time we were not having them in an effective manner. It also helped because her and I were working together to fix up my first house, which was an absolute fixer-upper. Acorns can attest to that.
Flooded basement.
We were, there's so many problems with that thing.
No.
I bought it as a fixer-upper and still sold it as a fixer-upper.
Well, the flooded basement was not your fault. That was
It wasn't
Mother
my fault,
Nature's
no. But she
Dude,
was
that
doing
entire street was flooded.
it was. I had a basement pool for a while.
Yeah.
Nice.
But her and I were working on like repainting and doing all that stuff, but she had ideas of how things were done and I had ideas of how I thought things were done, and we were butting heads over the now seemingly stupidest things. But it was to the point where it was driving us like to be really frustrated and annoyed with each other. And going through a couples counseling, working through some of those emotions and feelings and stuff helped us become better communicators when we're presented with something like that.
I like that a lot. Something that makes me think of something that our premarital therapist said, and that was, think of it not as you arguing with each other, but rather you two versus a problem. And even someone in the field, it was like a light bulb moment.
God, what's that like, to be able to attack a problem together?
Right.
It's healthy.
So the other thing, I just want to make sure I get this out there, especially for all of the couples and stuff. The one major thing that we took away was that when we're feeling that we're at odds against each other, or like when there's a miscommunication or something, what it primarily boiled down to, and it especially struck home for us, was that there's an imbalance of three things. There's trust, respect, and control. And so for one of us, it may seem like we're losing trust, respect, or control, or someone else is, or the other person is trying to take more than their fair share of it, and that's where some of our rift was happening. And so when we found ourselves kind of button heads and stuff, one of us would know, like, okay, hey, let's take a step back and analyze this a little bit more, like what's really happening, what's causing this rift. And so that's really helped us communicate a lot more. So so I've gone through therapy through that. And then also towards the end of my last job, I saw a career counselor because my job was making me depressed and very unhappy and all that stuff. And so I was talking to a professional about that too, to help me get out of it. And I'm glad I did, because that helped me job hunt a bit harder. And if it wasn't for that, I might not have the job that I have now.
I love that. And I love that you also brought up that there are different types of therapy settings, like career counseling, premarital. So yeah, really, really good insight. Before we move on, Acorns and Autumn, if y'all want to add anything to your therapy experience, I know y'all have already talked about it, but if there's anything you'd like to add.
It was pretty much all positive, but I had one negative that was on my end, where because of maybe the mental state I was in or some sort of stress, it was like there was one day where he was talking to me and I was legit just distracting myself, just playing The Sims as he's talking to me. And he was like, "You seem distracted today, Michael." And it's like, I'm playing video games as I'm talking to you. He's like, "Really?"
At least you admitted it. I mean, I would have been like, "No, I'm sorry. I've just got a lot on my mind. Hold on," and pause. You know.
No. I was like, I'm playing video games. Talking to you. He's like, "Really?" That's just what I was like. I told him, I just didn't want to talk that day or something. Like, I just told him, and I was just like, "Yep, it's what's going on right now." He's like, "Okay, that's valid." It was funny because like pretty much every session though that I would start with him for a while, him and his wife were going through watching the entire MCU from start to finish. And so I was like, all right, where you at now, homie? He's like, all right, well, you know, we're at Winter Soldier right now. I was like, all right, cool, right on, awesome. Because you know he was doing all his sessions from home because we're in the middle of the pandemic. So, yeah. So there was never any negatives. It was all learning experience. I'm a very open person. I'm very open. And so I was like, this is a neutral third party. I'm just gonna let loose. Just emotional vomit.
Okay, Doc, hold on. I'm gonna floor it. You ready?
you right?
Pull up your pants, buddy.
You joke, but I've had clients talk like that before, and it just makes me giggle.
Yeah. Like I mentioned the chair earlier, I'm considering going back because my ADHD is out of control right now. Severely out of control.
And you know, a good therapist will understand that not every session's gonna be amazing. There's not a lot to report. Sometimes you're just not in a good mental space for it, and it seems like he rolled with it really well. Autumn, is there anything you'd like to add before we go on to the next question?
Yeah. I have gone to therapy before, about 6.5 hours ago, in fact, and I just had positive experiences. So
that's wonderful.
It's been really great so far.
All right, then let's go ahead and move on to how different do you think the culture of men's mental health is from when you were growing up? And this is one we've actually touched a little bit on, but
yeah, I think we got a long way to go.
Yeah,
I really do. I think we obviously have a long way to go. But like with things like this are happening, what we're doing today, you know, and it's like I said, when I say these things, I don't mean them as a, you know, well, we're doing this, you know, no, I don't mean it like in any kind of, you know, holding it up in front of anybody way. I mean it like more people should be doing this, you know. We should be talking about it, we should be telling each other about it, and people who don't want to hear it, they don't have to, but you know, it's good if that somebody they know is listening and paying attention and talking about it, because you know, they're likely to overhear your emotion, you know, they're like to hear about your point about this. I would really like to see more of this. I want it. I'm like I said, I'm getting to that age where I'm just kind of tired of people's bullshit. So I just would like it if people just open your mouth, man. Don't bop around. You know, all those things that we thought were so important in our 20s and even 30s. You know, by the time I hit my 40s, I was just like, what was I wasting my time on? I could have been doing so many things so differently, and it just was because, you know, you're not going to get it. You're going to go through those things. You're going to have to learn them. It's natural. You know, you have to learn that emotional age or whatever you call it. But like, if we can talk about things more and we can teach the kids to talk about that more, we can actually start hacking away at all of this, you know, tough guy bullshit.
Well, and that's one of the reasons, for those of you just tuning in, our stream team tomorrow over at the stream team channel, we are having a Minecraft tournament benefiting Movember, a men's mental health charity, which is why we're doing this podcast ahead of them, to raise awareness. Like you said, Diz, we need more of this. We need people to know that it's okay. It's okay to open up about your mental health. It doesn't make you any less than. If anything, the men in my life who I've seen be vulnerable and get therapy, I view them in even higher standing, because it takes a very strong person to put themselves out there and to be vulnerable, to go against those stigmas,
to dig in.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if there are no other comments, we can move on.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I've said a lot of this already earlier, so.
Yeah, we did bring this up.
Yeah.
I mean, I pretty much agree with Diz. I mean, at least people are talking about it more frequently now, but there's still a long way to go.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I can't wait. There's a question on here I can't wait to get to.
Oh. I shouldn't have sent these ahead of time. It's funny you mentioned your therapist watching shows and stuff on Netflix. Are there any movies, shows, media, or songs, I suppose? Oh, here we go. That you feel accurately portray men's mental health, and how did they impact you?
Oh, this could be an entire podcast, honestly.
But give me
This question,
yeah. We could make it a whole other one later on, but
who wants to go first?
You know what? I'll be brief.
okay.
The way things were supposed to be, I believe, is really well represented in Star Trek. I know a lot of people hate it, and they hear Star Trek and they're like, nerd, but that's what I'm talking about. That's literally what I'm talking about. That reaction. You look at Star Trek and you have what would be, let's take Voyager especially, because it's a female captain, it's a very diverse crew. It was one of the most diverse up at that point, and it just got hate, but what it was putting out there was a lot of equality. That's what it was pushing, and it was pushing the whole thing. That was Gene Roddenberry's attitude from the very beginning. Believe it or not, he was a little bit rough on him in the real life, but the show was meant to be very open and pushing the boundaries, of this kind of stigma. He was trying to break it with a federation that had changed everything about humanity to be peaceful and ready and explorer, rather than capitalist crazies what we are right now and warring and whatever. That was the idea behind it. And so Star Trek did it. I think Star Trek says a lot about where we're supposed to be. And there's a ton of shows about accurately showing where we are, unfortunately.
I really like that answer. That is a very good point.
I've got an interesting take on this.
Okay.
So I think a good mental health one, and this is coming from kind of an odd way of looking at it, so brace yourselves.
Oh.
But Fight Club.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
I fucking love that movie, by the way. Sorry, go ahead.
It is one of my all-time favorite movies. Another good mental health one, well, more like maybe more mental illness than health, is Memento. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
good choices.
Oh yeah, but so I'm going to call out Fight Club primarily because you see Edward Norton's character going on in his day-to-day life, starting out and all that stuff, which is how most of us feel, or at least have felt at some point in our lives. And then over the course of the movie and everything, and especially getting towards the end, you realize that the less he cares about what other people are thinking about him and how he's supposed to look, act, feel, and all of that stuff, the more he lets go and just be's the person that he wants to be, all of a sudden everything just starts coming together. For the character. And for the character. May not be the best thing for everyone outside of the character, but what I mean is that, especially as someone who, I'm still working on the fact that I still care about what others think about me. And so for me, that's always kind of a reminder of, it doesn't matter what other people think of you. Sure, to some extent it does, being a streamer and, as someone who's active on social media and stuff, that kind of plays a part in it. But in the grand scheme of things, the only thing that matters and that's going to impact your life are the thoughts, feelings, and decisions that you make for yourself. Now, whether that's you're going to give into what people, and if you're going to believe and worry about what others are going to think of you, or are you going to think and believe what you feel is best for you? Ultimately, that's what's going to, that's what's going to run your decisions and run your life.
I like that a lot. That's a very, very good
Great answer.
That is cool. That is really cool, because I love that movie. And what's funny is I would the only thing I would add is like, if you're gonna understand that way, be sure that you recognize which character Shem's talking about. You want to be the narrator, not Tyler Durden.
Yeah. It's very
You don't want to be Tyler. You don't want to be Tyler.
Don't be Brad Pitt.
You could
Don't be Brad Pitt.
You can almost really delve into that movie and analyze it as him fighting that perception of toxic masculinity, what people want him to be versus who he really is. I like that a lot, actually.
Oh, totally. And if you think about it, sorry to interrupt, but when you think about it, towards the end of the movie, small spoiler alert, Brad Pitt is there because Brad Pitt is what Edward Norton wants to become. The freeing, liberating, doesn't give an F about anything about him, just doing his own thing. And some of the things that Brad Pitt does is actually really cool. It's in a twisted way. I'm thinking of the store clerk one. I mean, his methods are wild, but I loved the end result of that. But then towards the end of the movie, Edward Norton is like, wait, no, this isn't who I want to be.
No.
I tried doing this. I don't agree with this anymore. And I don't want this anymore. I'm going to do something else. I want to do what I want to do.
Some people apparently have to go. I think the story, not the moral, but the point of that whole movie was that some people had to go to the extreme to get back to where they needed to be as a human. And unfortunately, I don't think the point in reality is you don't really need to go that far. But like maybe there's some things that you really need to change. Yeah. You really should push for the change because you're the only one that's going to do it.
Yeah. Now, Shem, you have to head out, I believe.
Yeah, I got to jump off.
Thank you so much for being on this panel. Thank you so much for answering these questions. Go ahead and tell people where they can find you and what you do over on your channel.
Oh man. So yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I love talking about this stuff. I'm always up for talking about mental health. So yes, I am Big Shem, variety streamer. I'm sponsored by Founders Brewery. At my streams, it's nothing but pure chaos. Again, my mod has coined the term torture equals ratings, and apparently I live up to them way too well, whether I'm trying or I'm not.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Love you, homie.
And
Bye.
Shem will be one of our announcers tomorrow for the tournament. You'll hear his voice.
I will be one of the casters. I will be the caster who knows very little about Minecraft.
It's gonna be very funny.
Expect chaos. All right, see you guys.
See ya.
Bye, dude.
So Autumn and Acorns, any movie, shows, media that really stand out?
Autumn, do you want to go first? Because I might go for a while. Not a while, but I've got a lot to say about this topic.
I definitely want to get to the next question though before we end this, and we have about 5 minutes, right?
Yeah,
I'll go quick.
I can stretch it to 15. I can give us 15 minutes.
I'll go quick then. To me, the media that comes to mind that's impacted me, that I feel has a displays maybe mental health in general. There's a lot of music by the Hellos that really has spoken to me, especially in the last couple of years. Just a lot of their lyrics sort of have spoken to things I've been going through and kind of situations I've been in. And it's that's sort of given me that's been something that's sort of spoken to me. So
I like that a lot.
They're called the Oh Hellos.
Very good band.
Ever heard of them?
Yeah, I'm gonna
very
look them up.
All right, Acorns, go ahead.
Well, I want to see, because I mentioned this piece of media before, Psyche, but can you guess what it is?
Is it gonna be Rush?
Oh, why would it be Rush?
What's wrong with Rush?
I don't know.
Rush is great, but this is not what I had. I've mentioned this to you before.
Is it Dead Mouse?
No, it's not a.
You've mentioned so many.
No, it's a show. It's a show.
A show. As soon
you don't
as
get
you
it in
name
this
it,
guess.
I'm gonna know it.
BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, freaking yeah. yeah. Oh yeah.
There's two specific, like, so if you don't know, BoJack Horseman is a show about a sitcom star who was on a show in the 90s that was pretty popular, but the universe of this show is like there's half animal, there's animals that are anthropomorphic, there's also humans, and they're all very very human-like characters in their emotions and their relationships. And there's two episodes that are very impactful. Like the show starts off with like all these like punny animal jokes at the first season. Then like the first season ends and it's kind of heavy. And then as it goes on, it just gets like, why am I watching this? This is emotionally draining. But there's an episode called Stupid Piece of Shit. Well, no, you're not gonna laugh when I describe this.
No, I know. I've seen the episode.
You've seen, so you know what this is, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
basically, the main character Bojack, played by Will Arnett, wakes up in his bed and has these intrusive thoughts of where he's like his inner monologues calling him a stupid piece of shit, and he's like, you know, I need to go do the things I need to do. It's like, you know, I need a drink. I need a drink really bad. So he's gonna go get milk, and then he goes to the bar and drinks, and just this entire episode of just like him screwing up his life consistently. And it's the most, I think, realistic. Like if you're at your lowest of your mental health, I think it's the lowest. Like that is, it hits very close to home. Like intrusive thoughts are just, I think, are what it's very detrimental for, at least for my mental health, where it's just like, oh my God, like these weird thoughts are coming in about things and I can't stop them until I talk to someone. And then there's like the last season, there's an episode called The View from Halfway Down, and I don't really want to get too far into it because it's really,
yeah,
it's really heavy. But it deals a lot with the impacts of what happens in what's happened in Bojack's life in general. But like he sees, it's almost like Christmas Story, and like he sees like his entire past brought to him, and then there's this really heavy poem, and there's content warnings all over the place when I'm like trying to read this to you all, so I don't want to get too far into it, but it's a really great show because I think it ends on a really interesting point. The show in general ends in the sixth season, like at the end. Bojack has this relationship with a friend he made a relationship with at the beginning of the show, who was supposed to, Diane Wen, she was supposed to write Bojack's biography, and they've had this very tumultuous relationship throughout the entire show. And the show ends with like he hadn't seen Diane for an entire year, and then they get to this house party, and they're both completely different people. Bojack has gray hair, Diane's a little bit older, and they're both sitting on this roof, and Diane says to Bojack, you know, what if this is the last time we ever talk to each other? That's it. Music kind of swells up, and then it fades out. And it's just like, it kind of hits you, like, because you watch these entire characters, like, you know, grow and, you know, the relationships change or whatever. Like, it kind of also shows, like, you know, sometimes your friendships just kind of drift in and out. And sometimes these things just kind of happen. Like someone like you saw at the beginning of your relationship with this friend or whatever was really strong or whatever. You made a certain of an impact, and all of a sudden you just drift apart. And it's just, I highly recommend it if you're in the right place to watch it.
And,
I hear you.
You know,
Yeah.
it brings up a very good point that you said about how it really shows you the lowest of the low. Something I really dislike about some aspects of media is a tendency to glorify some aspects of mental illness. The tortured artist or the manic pixie dream girl. But shows like BoJack Horseman are not afraid to show you the true lows, the unglamorized, real aspects of mental health crises. So thank you for bringing that up. That's a very, very good point.
It's such a, like, I bring it up often because I think it's such a great, accurate depiction of like mental health. And I recommend everyone to watch it because it's such a phenomenally written show. It is very often said like it's the top tier of like critically acclaimed shows, and just like it's a well-written show. Like, all right, please go watch it if you're in the right state to watch it.
A lot better than I thought it was. Like when it first starts, you're like, okay, come on. And
It's
then
like,
a few
oh,
episodes
cool.
in, you're like, oh, okay.
Now
I
we
getcha.
have 2 questions left. Second to last being, has social media negatively impacted your mental health? Has it positively?
Negative. And the question.
Yeah, okay. Let's move on.
funny 'cause-
Facebook. Okay, bye. No, I'm just-
Well, when we talk about social media, I feel like there's a very strong emphasis on young women versus how it can affect everyone. And I just wanted to get some input on that.
So, the easiest way. This is the question I was really excited about this whole
Yeah.
thing. So I apologize. I'm not going to talk. I swear I'm not going to do this very long. I just want to say I deleted Facebook. No, I didn't delete it. It's still there for like people who I have to talk to that are far away.
Yeah.
That I can't talk to in any other way. Whatever.
Mhm.
But like that is so few and far between now. Literally, it's a repository of pictures that I've had from years of my life that I just don't have a drive for. You know, I don't have a drive to put all this stuff on. It is a storage base rather
Yeah.
than a social media platform. I almost never use it. I go on so they won't kick my account away, you know, one day and trash my account and I lose all my pictures.
Yeah.
But that's it, because with the advent of Facebook, I really believe that life went for like searching. You know,
Yeah.
it went for that positivity, that positive, you know, it went for that boost of that serotonin boost. It's really, really terrible. I believe it's probably the worst invention humans have ever made.
Uh-huh.
And this is someone who is still on Twitter. Okay. I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah.
And it's bad for our mental health. It's not bad, obviously, physically for us or anything like that. But the idea that you can be a completely different person online
Yep.
is one thing, but to literally just be lying about who you are, you know, and just it pushes that whole serotonin of people approving of you.
Mm-hmm.
And as someone who has got, like I said, gotten older and gotten tired of, you know, people's bullshit. That's
Yeah.
one of the big ones. You know, the social media has a lot of fun things about it. Memes, come on. We all love freaking memes. We all love songs. We wouldn't know about the music we wouldn't know about, you know, if we didn't have us posting it to each other. But there's this whole other negative side of it where, you know, YouTube, not to bring up a big thing, but YouTube just got rid of, or is getting rid of, the counter for the dislike button.
Yeah.
And all of these creators are really up in arms about it. And really what it's doing, what the idea behind it is to take that negative social media problem out of the equation of,
Yeah.
you know, picking a video to watch. And it's a simple thing where, like, you know, Facebook is just driven the wrong way.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it is so terrible. And one of the biggest things that it's affected us on this whole time, mental health and physical health, is the fact that people believe the bullshit that's on there instead of
Yeah.
listening to someone who is trained and has gone to years of school
Yeah.
and educated, you know, a smart person is telling you something and people are like, I'm just going to do my own research on Facebook. It hurts and it's sad. And positively, yes, we have shared art. We have shared, you know, memes and opinions about things. Great. Really, honestly, it's too much. I think it negatively
Yeah.
hurts mental health in a huge way.
And that's a very, very good point. I will say it's refreshing to hear this from y'all because, like I said earlier, there's a huge impact on it affecting younger women and their self-esteem, but they don't really look into how it truly impacts that comparison, that like searching, as you said. And that's such a good point. Oh my goodness. Would anyone else like to offer input before we move on?
You want me to throw a grenade into the middle
Do
of the
it.
conversation?
Do it. Throw the
Is
grenade.
Discord social media? Or
Huck
is,
it, dude.
Do it.
Huck it,
Is,
sucker.
is Discord social media?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Then,
yeah.
then it has positively impacted because
Oh.
Discord has been good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah.
But Facebook, I stopped using as soon as I got out of college. Like,
Yep.
I used that to organize study groups. I got out of college and I sort of looked at it and I went, huh, I don't really need this anymore. And I don't really need to keep in touch with most of these people anymore, and I don't know my password for it. I haven't logged in 8 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It's probably out there somewhere. If you know my name, you could probably find it. The last post was probably about the time I got... No, actually, it was probably before I got married, because I stopped using it before that even. So, yeah, I recognized it for a bad thing, or a not useful thing. Discord, though, Discord's been good.
Yeah,
Discord's
been nice.
Yeah, hopefully it stays that way.
I don't know. We do have a curse channel or two.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe that, like, our communities, people that I see in our communities, I believe that because we've all had humps,
Yeah.
bumps in the road.
Our lovely
lovely
lady
lady
lumps.
Listen, we're not talking about it. It's fine. I'm gonna go on a diet soon. It's fine.
But seriously, like, you know, we've all had our bumps in the road with our communities, and people that come in and people that come out, the people you think they aren't going to be good, and then it turns out they're fine, and then somebody who's been there forever just goes crazy, it seems, and you know, just, you know, it ends up being that, you know, we do our best to deal with it as content creators or whatever, you know, streamers, whatever, people who have communities around them. You know, it's one of those things where, like, you just try and do best by the best, you know, best and right about people.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
and I think that our communities are fine, but there are communities of people out there who thrive on the negativity and thrive on the strife, and who literally are, I mean, come on, there are hate raids on Twitch. This is this is the problem.
You have to be cautious what you surround yourself with, I think is what I'm getting. It's like social media is a tool that, when used correctly, can be a very positive, wholesome thing. Sharing pictures with people who aren't near, but it can also be very toxic. It's like fire. It can burn you or it can warm a home. You have to be cautious how you let it impact you, is what I think I'm getting.
Yeah.
So this is our last question. And I do want to say thank you all so much for being on this panel. This has been amazing.
You're welcome.
No, thank you.
If you've been to therapy, what we're gonna leave with, what is the best thing your therapist said to help you?
It's okay to set boundaries, and things that happened to you when you weren't capable aren't your fault. Those were the things. That was it.
Yeah.
Those things changed my life.
I guess for me it'd be the decision tree. That helps me a lot. Because, like, because, like, originally I went for panic attacks, and I've been able to navigate my panic attacks now very easily.
I love that. That's so wonderful.
So just be like, everything's cool, things fine. I mean, granted, you know, maybe sit in the hot tub and a 0.25 milligrams of Xanax might help, but I'm quicker to come down from it than I have in the past, where I literally call an ambulance. So,
well, I'm so glad. Like, you're in such a better place than you were. Just knowing you as a friend. Autumn, what do you think the best thing your therapist has said or done to help you?
I've only been going for a few months, so I don't have like a good line or anything that jumps out. Though today we were talking, and it kind of dawned on me. I have a lot of hate that I have built up over the last 2 years. And we were talking about trying to deal with returning to sort of a normal life, returning to church, and how that's going to be a struggle because our church didn't handle things well, and they still aren't.
Yeah.
And she said the church is sort of going to be the thing you sort of confront. It's sort of almost like your antagonist that you have to deal with. Yeah. And how you deal with that, because what I need to do is I need to figure out how to forgive people who didn't handle this correctly. Because because that is where I'm stuck at.
I remember that. I don't mean to say it like that, but I remember that.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Because I've lived it hard, and I have to figure out how to, from me, forgive not a person, but people. And kind of realizing that today was really sort of like, I realized sort of I have a path forward.
Yeah, you got a direction rather than a quote. You have a direction. That's awesome, dude.
I love that so much. Well, thank you all so much for being on this podcast. I have appreciated knowing all of you and hearing your journeys. And I don't know if you all were reading the comments, but you really got to people. And I have been reading chat during this, and thank you all so much for your feedback. I feel like this has been a very healing and healthy session, and I am really looking forward to the charity event tomorrow, which all of us are involved.
Yeah, those platy pukes are going down.
Oh, let's go! Our team's gonna win. But yes,
oh no!
Take care, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and raid Mama Tamago. Thank you all so much for being a part of this.
Love you all, Julie friends.
Take it easy, guys.
Goodbye. All right, folks. We're gonna go send the love forward. Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. And remember, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central, on the Psychepath Streams Twitch page, we will have our charity for Movember. Goodbye.